When you're talking about how powerful live streaming is, you always have to tell your clients, well, what is it about live video that makes it so engaging? It's the fact that as human beings, we crave a sense of belongingness. When we see a community, we build it. We want to be a part of it. For someone who usually speaks at conferences, I love the little hangouts. I love the networking sessions because I want to know that I have a sense of belongingness. And so when I think about live streaming, it taps into all of our happy brain chemicals, that dopamine, that oxytocin, that serotonin, and those endorphins. A dose of happy brain chemicals. Live streaming gives your audience a happy dose of brain chemicals because when they feel like they belong, that's when you're able to build rapport. When you're starting to create an environment and in a community where it's a habit. Wednesdays, 2:30 p.m., I'm going to be hanging out with Steph. That's what you got to do. That's what you have to do. Like I said before, most clients don't really know what it is that they want. That could be really quite troublesome because they might have seen like a shady production and that's what they want. And you're like, no, I use Ecamm. Let me show you all the awesome and amazing things that I can do. First, definitely have that discovery call. Figure out what it is your client wants to do. What's the look and feel? How many people do they want to have during that actual event? Is it going to be on site? Are they going to have an MC? What is this event? What's the messaging? What's the purpose? What's the ambiance? What's the energy? What's the feel that you want to have for this event? And so having a creative brief is always helpful. This is why storyboarding your show is going to be very, very helpful because some of your clients don't know what they don't know, meaning they probably haven't seen an actual live event produced via Ecamm. What they knew when it came to live stream was like, oh, you're just going to hold your phone. And I was like, there is so much that we can do. And your client discovery calls, think about what the look and feel is going to be like. What's the ambiance? How are you going to carry the energy of the show from beginning to end? One way that you can do this is create a storyboard. And I find that this is usually very helpful because in their mind, they want to know how it's going to look like. And so when you map it out with like what the overlays are, the countdown timers, how the event is being transitioned from one person to the next is going to be absolutely helpful. All right, so the first thing that I generally have when I'm working with clients is I'll have a countdown timer. I find that if I just say like, okay, I'm just going to be in your ear and I'm going to say 3, 2, 1 and we're live, they're just like deer in headlights. And I'm like, no. And so having a countdown timer is very, very helpful. What I also like to do with these countdown timers is pair some music with it. And so when you think of the countdown timer, there are different ways that you could showcase the countdown timer. Next, let's talk about the solo shot. Solo shots are very helpful. Notice how in this graphic, I'm saying on the upper left-hand corner, there's going to be a live button or a countdown timer or whatever platform you're going to use. Let them know what the UI is going to look like. Give them that. Give them also an idea of what your overlays are going to look like. Again, this is your opportunity for you to showcase to your clients how amazing and talented you are. And then this is usually the part where they're like, wait a second, what's this other storyboard? And this makes it really exciting for them to realize you can really customize this to be the look and feel that I want it to be. Then we're going to talk about Scene 4 is the host plus the guest. Again, they've probably never seen this before. They're like, oh, wait a second. I could actually have a guest hop on the show with me. How do you do that? Yeah, we could totally bring on a guest. Get really creative with it. They've never seen this before. Again, this is going to be your opportunity for this. Scene 5, again, whatever events that you're actually doing, they could do like a PDF if they wanted to. Just recently, I helped out a friend do her wedding. And one of the things that we actually did is the mother of the bride got on there and we did like a PDF slideshow of of how my girlfriend like grew up over the years. And it was really cool. Sentimental music in the background. Of course, we had some embarrassing photos as well, which made it all the more memorable. These are things that you can absolutely do. Then let's talk about a panel discussion. Again, show them what it is that you can do. This right here is so basic. I'm just like camera. One of the other Ecamm Live content creators, they've done, sitting inside of an actual iPhone. Maybe make it fun. Make it fun. Generally, when I get started with clients, or even if I'm going to have someone on the show, we have an interview checklist. And I try to personalize it like, hey, are you ready for your spotlight? Yeah, we're going to make you look absolutely amazing. So in the pre-show checklist, I let them know what software I'm going to use, which is, hello, of course it's going to be Ecamm Live. And yes, I use the interviewing feature because it's so easy and it's so seamless. When we are setting up for our clients, things that we generally talk about is, if at all possible, make sure that you are plugged into your computer via an Ethernet cable. This can make a big difference in the performance with the video and the audio syncing all together. Let's make sure that you show up with your best face forward because I don't want you to freeze on frame. Then you want to check devices. I've got iPads, iPhones, all the things. Make sure that they're disconnected from the Wi-Fi. These are things that even when you're going in your tech rehearsal, right? They're like, oh yeah, I know. And then on the day of, what happens? Life happens. And so this is an important opportunity for you to remind them, make it a part of their conscious awareness. Remember to go ahead and do this, okay? Close down apps, Dropbox, Google Drive, anything that could be running in the background. Clients, sometimes they don't remember. I always I don't know about you guys, but I always have those moments where I'm like, make sure you close your email. And then you hear the, you got mail. So then upload speed, speedtest.net, type in, internet upload speed, because clients, more often than not, they know their download speeds, but not their upload speeds. So we've talked about that, making sure that they have a stable connection. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm working with clients, especially for a remote live video production, I always ask them, show me your run of show. In your run of show, I want to know who your guest is, and I want to make sure that we actually have a tech rehearsal. And the same thing that we're doing right now, we're going to do that with them as well. I don't care if you have a virtual event and you're expecting 8,000 people to show up live. You want to make sure that you've done your due diligence. Let's talk about sound and video. Use earphones. Please use earphones, headphones. This reduces echo and increases the quality. If you need to put in more things in here to scare the crap out of them, to just be like, if you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of your shareholders, in front of your investors, get earphones. Give them suggestions on what it is that you already do. I know a bunch of you in the Ecamm community are Amazon affiliates. Drop a link to your Amazon affiliate, or if you're really smart, give them a link to your kit.co and it says this is how you're going to show up to be your best. That's what you got to do. Average salary of a director of social media strategy, which is the role that I have with live streaming layered on top of it, is roughly about $85,000 a year to $135,000 a year. You could boil that down into an hourly rate, and that's what makes sense. Same thing for a social media manager. Those are the numbers that I keep in mind. You can go to websites like Indeed.com or just plug it in and figure out what works best for you. So when most people are always asking how much should I charge for my services? I'm like, well, if you look at job description, put that into a Google search and you'll see what the salaries are of what they're paying people in-house. This is what you want to play around with. You could put in the different costs that you want to. Let's say I want to give this person here $35. Maybe I want to make this $100. That's fine. Do whatever it is that you have to do. Then let's move on to the actual calculator. The first thing that we generally have is discovery. It's a discovery call, and that could be however long it needs to be. Sometimes if I'm working with an event organizer, I'm also talking to the chief marketing officer and the other key stakeholders, and it might just be a long meeting. If I know what the hours are and I know who needs to be there, right? My scene switcher doesn't need to be there. The strategist needs to be there. For all my social media folks, remember the post-production phase that I was talking about? This is our social media distribution strategy. You already put together an amazing virtual event. Let them know that you have this opportunity by taking that HD recording and turning it into case studies, long-form articles. You could turn it into social media content, into your Facebook post, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, maybe even some YouTube shorts if that's your thing. But when an event organizer knows wow, Kevin's going to take care of me from beginning to end. This is why I choose him. This is why I want to work with that remote live video producer, because they have all of this in store. When you're having this discovery call, more often than not, they are reporting to somebody else. And so when you have something like this PDF that outlines all of the amazing, wonderful things that you can do, it becomes distributable, which means that you could easily attach it to an email. It could get forwarded to someone else. It could get forwarded over to sponsors to say, and sponsor, you get all these clips that you could then add to your social media channels as well. As a social media marketer, this is a part of our content strategy. We tell our clients, when you work with us to do a social media strategy, it's a video first strategy. You're going to create this pillar content. We're then going to use Descript to turn that into a long form blog article, ebook, whatever the case may be, maybe even like a series of emails. That's going to be amazing. So take a screenshot of this. This is going to be an opportunity for you. We're talking about how you can stay top of mind and tip of tongue, because when you knock this out of the park, they're going to recommend you. And P.S. by the way, you should totally be asking for testimonials when you are doing these events. Most live producers that I've met, man, they knock it out of the park when it comes to knowing the gear and the tech. There's something also about having that soft skill of knowing how to build rapport with your client, knowing how to build rapport with presenters who just might not be used to being on camera. And so in the previous episode of Showrunner Secrets from the Set, we were talking about things that even our viewers have done, where they'll take a screenshot of the actual setup and be like, hey, Katie, your setup is awesome. So when you show up into the green room, it should look like that. If you're like in the bathroom, I'm like, hold up, wait a second. That is not what we agreed
upon. Ecamm has a number of new features that make things a little bit easier, but also can be a little bit jarring if you've never done an interview before. The ability to talk to your guest while a video clip or while your intro or your countdown is running behind the scenes gives you the chance to say, hey, we're going to be back live in 2 minutes. If you want to run, grab a glass of water, if you need to run for a quick bathroom break, and I've now even taken to, and mostly just because it's fun, but it's great to be able to even count down the seconds, so someone's running to get water and I'm like, in 5, 4, 3, so they know we're about to start.
They hear it. I think that's so smart.
There are so many dynamics that go into having someone else on screen with you. If you are bringing a guest on or multiple guests, doing a test from a technical standpoint, awesome. But doing a test just from a personality standpoint, also really important. Getting a feel for whether or not they talk with their hands, how far back they're going to be in their studio, whether they're the kind of person that wants to give a lot of examples and comes prepared with a presentation. All of these kinds of things you may know about just from having chatted back and forth with them by email or in direct messages, but it's really different when they're on screen and how they're actually going to portray themselves on camera. And some of those things are every bit as important in the troubleshooting process as all of the technical side of things. So really understanding what they're going to say, how comfortable they are, how nervous they might be, all of that is stuff you need to be able to factor into how long you might need with them for a test. Maybe you need multiple tests. Maybe you need to be able to calm them down and answer their questions and make them feel comfortable. Sometimes just talking before you're going live adds that level of comfort to a guest and makes them feel ready to be able to shine. And
that's
you owe that to your clients, right? Like you want them to look good. Diana Gladney, who is amazing, had a tip that she gave me probably 2 years ago now, Diana, if I remember correctly. She said she uses tape. So she literally, like old school theater practice, she marks things with tape so that her camera is in the right spot. Literally everything is marked with tape so that if and when she does move things around, she knows exactly where to put it back again so that she doesn't need to worry about messing with settings or things being in the wrong spot or not getting the exact same quality that's what she tested with. Pro tip, right from Diana, definitely if you're the person that moves things around or you're on the go, hybrid events are coming back now, you're trying to do a little bit of both. Mark your space with tape so that you know exactly where everything needs to go so that you're not messing around with setting everything all up again, because that's just taking time, right?
Being on everyone else's shows, we always talk a lot about like gear, but it's not often that you hear us talk about gaff tape or even sandbags to make sure that our tripods don't tip over. Like with all the lighting that we have, like we make sure it doesn't fall over. And I say this with love because one of our dear friends had a green screen fall on her. And so like, hey, the sandbag would have worked out for that. That would have been great. Don't let anyone in on your production network. That's a good one. I remember when I was doing a live stream with like 8 cameras, and it was only solely dedicated for that event. I was like, everyone else, the HR admin, the front, Like the intern, do not think you need to be on some other system right now, for sure.
You can actually export all of your scenes and send them to someone else. So if you're running a production and you're the person that's built out all the scenes in Ecamm Live, but you have someone on set, on site that is helping to actually run the show for you. In this case, Mike was saying that you exported your MC scenes so he could guest produce, and it was killer, right? Like, so you put all the work in, you send it out, Mike runs it on the other side, and then he doesn't have to worry about all the time in actually building it and prepping it. He can flow through all the content exactly how you planned it out, right? Scenes are important for planning and really thinking through your production and being able to flow through it really smoothly as you run a show. But it's also a really great way if you have a team, multiple users that are running on Ecamm, you're able to just send that all over and you're ready to go. So certainly something to think about if you are getting into larger productions or growing a team and are using Ecamm at your center. Open up Ecamm Live to click on the help menu at the very top, which no one pays any attention to because they're like,
we don't know.
And I know that all of you out here live and breathe in our community and are constantly asking questions and engaging with each other, and you probably have your people that you ask questions to, which is all fine. But if something technically goes wrong or you have a question about the tech and you really want to be able to get help and answers, go into the app, click help, and click contact support. You can also reach us on our website. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's an orange bubble. You click that and you can chat with someone, or you can email supportdesk@ecamm2ms.com. Those are the 3 ways to reach us. If something goes wrong where it seems like it's a technical issue, a guest can't connect in and you've walked them through things and it's just not working, it seems weird to you, you don't understand why, or you've messed around with your mic and the sound isn't coming out of the other side and you've tried to talk it through, you've tried a bit of troubleshooting and something's just not seeming right, that's the point where you do want to get in touch with support.